Hi everyone, very good afternoon. Welcome to our class, our afternoon class, which we do it so often now. um, Although I don't see a lot of people joining in, but I think in a span of time people will come. So I keep doing this. Just a moment, let me just put and see if I'm coming online or not. So I uh, just a moment. All right, thank you very much. So. Super methods VARC, which actually the today's discussion is around, we call it sublime methods, and it's so correct that it's just sublime method. Super method is just a example following this super nomenclature very often, so I am doing it that way. But then it's right. Whatever has been given right now is so correct that it is sublime and super, and it's both are true. So this is what we're doing. I don't know, it sounds like eating dal chawal every day and coming at 2 p.m. and you know now the afternoon class is at 7 a.m. So coming every day and talking about it, it's very important because I'm sure a couple of people, at least 10, 15, 20 people, 30 people, they watch it every day and they make it a point to visit it. And it is my request to them to share it, subscribe it, like it, or criticize us, at least, if not anything else. At least tell us what we're not doing right and what you want from us. I think that is a very very important thing, basically. um, so try and let's try and do that. Let's try and increase our reach in that way. Let's try and find a way out in which we can do good work together. um, so like I'm always saying, that it's possible to improve your skills in CAT uh, by working hard. It's possible to improve your skills by working on weak areas. So the series is about that. Although it's running from last more than 2 months now, I think it's eighth or ninth week. I've lost the count, but then still, I think that there's a lot of scope left in CAT preparation. We can still do well. Contents of today, we'll be talking about journal thoughts, like we always do. It's the time we can spend RCs, and then some issues, then again an RC, same RC can spread over 4 5 slides. How to improve, then again part of RC, then analysis of wrong questions, and then uh, for VA's sort of 4 questions after that. So my name is Anupam, and my name is Anupam, and I have more than 3,500, more than 3,200 hours of CAT training uh, under my belt. Trained more than 3,500 candidates for CAT. At the same time, I have, if you do take into account the total number of hours and total number of students I would have taught, uh, that is going to be more than 10,000 hours and more than 10,000. And I'm also uniquely placed at being also developing and creating questions for GMAT as a client. Staying in touch, please install and download Unacademy app. Go to Plus, go to Cat, subscribe, and then out of these 5 options, take 12 months and 24 months, and look at the pricing: 15,750 and 18,900 after discount. After using the code Saxena Live as a discount code. So please utilize this thing. How it is beneficial? So um, first of all, this process of is very important for you, because you get live classes. So one of the things is that we had a lot of special free live classes which we do which happen on the Unacademy app, which are free of cost, and that is same as free as YouTube. That person will come and the person will take live classes, and you can ask questions also. They'll ask quizzes also, and at the same time you can look at those questions, and you can look at those questions at a later those videos at a later point of time and number of times you want to. So in that way it is extremely free. But what happens, you will not get doubt solving sessions, you will not get full length test series, you will not get access to old question papers, you will not get access to their analysis, which is extremely important. So in that way I think it is extremely important that um, that people sort of do it right. And So solving full length test series is also extremely important. I think we all should be striving to do it very often. So I think this pricing and the kind of quality which we are giving, the kind of resources we are giving, I think this is the most amazing. This is the most amazing what you can get here. Okay. Next point is that by improving in RCs, people improve in other areas as well. So what I'm trying to say that by improving in reading comprehension field, in improving their RC skills, people will improve in their in other areas as well. So if you have good reading comprehension skill, you will be definitely doing better when it comes to parajumbles, odd one out, parasummary. Because the ability to read a text, understand it, and to tell what is happening in it, what is the purpose behind it, what is the central idea behind it. When if you're able to do it properly, then I think you have done it. You have cracked it. And if this skill is there, then solving anything in terms of parajumbles, in terms of parasummary, in terms of odd one out, anything and everything would be very helpful. So by improving in RCs, people improve in other areas as well. This is what my point. And it's like a basic skill. Like for example, if you're talking about mathematics, if you improve your calculations, keep some time apart for multiplication, division, addition every day, few words a day, few minutes a day, then naturally your calculation speed improves. So by improving in RCs, people improve in other areas as well. Next point is that we can spend time, the time we can spend, okay. So you can solve 2 to 3 RCs online. This is very important. So this we're discussing from I think at least yesterday we're doing it. But it's important that you solve 2 to 3 RCs online every day, and you also analyze the wrong questions, the questions which you have marked incorrectly. You also try and understand where you have marked those questions wrong, and what mistakes you have done there. So it is very, very important. Let's try and solve the question. Let's try and read the RC. Let's see what is the meaning of it. It says scientists recently discovered that emperor penguins, one of the Antarctica's most celebrated species, employ a particularly unusual technique for surviving the daily chill. They're saying that there is a particular kind of penguins which are one of the most celebrated species. They employ a unusual technique for surviving the daily chill. And as detailed in an article published today in journal Biology Letters, birds minimize heat loss by keeping the outer surface of their plumage below the temperature of the surrounding air. They are saying that the species is doing what? The species is keeping the temperature of the plumage is there. Is that out the coat basically? Is that the black color coat which we see? The black color coat on the body. What is happening? That the penguin is keeping the temperature of this coat, of this outer coat, below the temperature of the surrounding air. Now simple physics is this, simple science is this, that if the temperature of this pen which I'm holding in my hand, if this pen is below the temperature of the air around it, right, what will happen? The heat from the outside, from the nearby air, will flow towards it, right? This pen in my hand, if the air around it is 25 degrees Celsius, but this pen in my hand is 23 or 22 degrees Celsius, then naturally the heat will flow towards it. So this funda the penguins are applying. So the researchers analyze thermographic images taken over roughly a month during 2008. So they have taken some thermographic images over roughly a month during 2008. During the period, average air was 0.32 degree Fahrenheit. They are saying that the average air at that time air temperature was 0.32 degree Fahrenheit. At the same time, the majority of the plumage covering the penguin's body was even colder. The surface of the warmest part of the body, their feet, was 1.76 degrees Fahrenheit, but the plumage on the head, chest and back was was 0.80 minus 0.84 minus 7.24 and minus 9.76 Fahrenheit degree Fahrenheit respectively. So the temperature of the air is this, and the temperature of the plumage is this. Overall, the entire outer surface of penguins' bodies was now freezing at all times, except for their eyes and beaks. So, except for the so nearly entire entire outer surface of the penguin's body was below freezing was below freezing point at all times, except for their eyes and beaks. The scientists also used a computer simulation to determine how much heat was gained or lost from each part of the body, and discovered that by keeping the outer surface below air temperature, the birds might paradoxically be able to draw very slight amounts of heat from the air around them. What they're saying that by keeping their outer surface below air temperature, the birds might paradoxically means that the temperature of the body part is less, but just because the fact that the temperature around the body part is less, the heat is coming back to it. The key to the trick is that the difference between two types of heat transfer, radiation and convection. So they're saying that the trick lies in two types of heat transfer, the radiation and convection. Let's look at some of the issues which you people are facing. You people are saying that, okay, I am unable to answer the question with respect to the author's intention. So you're saying that you're unable to answer the question with respect to author's intention. What is the intention of the author? Just go back. Let's try and just see in these two paragraphs what is the intention of the author. The intention of the author is to sensitize, is to inform, is to talk about the variation or the technique by which the emperor penguins gain heat from the outside atmosphere. In simple words, so this is the author is trying to talk about this process by which that just because so this is in short the purpose, and the central idea is that by keeping the temperature of the plumage below less than the temperature of the air around it, penguins are able to draw very slight amounts of heat from the air around them. That is what it is right. So so that's what I'm trying to say, that start from smaller paragraphs, start from smaller parts, and try and answer them in a way that you can answer those questions in that way. So this is not very difficult. It's just that you have to ask yourself when you're reading that what is the primary purpose, what is the central idea of the paragraph, and then it sort of makes sense. questions from cat like that. So penguins do lose internal body heat to surrounding air to thermal radiation, just as our body does. So they're saying that penguins do lose internal body to surrounding air to thermal radiation, just as our body do on a cold day. Because their bodies, but not surface plumage, are warmer than the surrounding air. Heat gradually radiates over time, moving from warmer material to the colder one. So they are saying that simply through radiation, if the this happens in human body also, that if that human body is at a colder is warmer than the temperature around us, we are warmer. So on a cold day, what happens that we radiate heat. Okay, to maintain body temperature while losing heat, penguin, like all warm-blooded animals, rely on. So to maintain body heat while losing body temperature while losing heat, penguins, like all warm-blooded animals, rely on the metabolism of food. Penguins though have an additional strategy. Since their outer plumage is even colder than air, the simulation showed that they might gain back a little of this heat through thermal convection. The transfer of heat via movement of fluid, in this case air. As cold Antarctic air cycles around their bodies, slightly warmer air comes into contact with the plumage and donates minute amounts of heat back to the penguins. Then cycles away with plumage and donates minute amounts of heat back to the penguins, then cycles away at a slightly cold temperature. So they're saying that that penguins, they maintain the, so this part, if you just summarize this part in 2 lines, is that although penguins body, the overall body is at a higher temperature than the surrounding air, it radiates heat, but since the plumage is colder than the air, the air in the Antarctic, which is slightly warmer than the temperature of the plumage, when it comes into contact with the plumage, it donates minute amounts of heat back to penguins, right? So what did I say? They say that understanding the purpose of the passage, understanding the primary purpose of the passage, can help you to improve your RC skills. It can really help you to improve your performance in RC. Yes, it does. So if we just look at the purpose of this paragraph, then the purpose of this paragraph is to explain the 2 methods by which penguins loses heat, and also by the other method the penguin gains heat. So this is trying to explain us how the heat transfer between the penguin's body and plumage and between the air in the Antarctic continent. Understanding the purpose of the passage. So yeah, so if we can understand the purpose of the passage, then a question and answers becomes a lot easier. Let's see what is there in. So I think you should start doing it in your everyday life, like we've discussed in previous classes also. That reading a couple of texts given to you basically, and that text can be from an article, from an editorial, and then uh, when you're reading it, asking yourself, what is the primary purpose of this piece? What is the central idea uh, behind this piece? Now, all these questions can be really, really important. If you do this, then obviously your performance improves. All right. Most of this heat, the researchers note, probably does not make it all the way through the plumage. Most of this heat, the researchers note, probably does not make it all the way to the plumage and back to the penguins' bodies, but it could make a slight difference. At the very least, the method by which a penguin's plumage wicks heat from the bitterly cold air that surrounds it helps to cancel out some of the heat uh, that's radiating from its interior. So they are saying that obviously that most of this heat, the research is saying that it doesn't make through the plumage and back to the penguin's body, but it could make slight difference. Okay. And at the very least, it could cancel out some of the heat which somebody is losing, which they're losing through giving out the heat which is going out from the body somewhere, that is little bit reduced. So, for example, that if a penguin is giving, say, let's say if the penguin is given away, say 80 calories heat. If I'm not very sure if we can calculate heat by that unit, but if a penguin is giving away 80 calories of heat a day, then say by 20 or 30 or 15 calories of heat the penguin is gaining, because of the plumage is colder than the air, and air gives back some of its heat to the plumage. And it says, and given the emperor's unusually demanding breeding cycle, every bit of warmth counts. They're saying that the breeding cycle is very demanding. Since penguins trek as far as 75 miles to the coast to breed, and male penguins don't eat anything during the incubation period of 64 days, conserving calories by giving up as little heat as possible is absolutely critical. So they're saying that this is extremely important, because the kind of environment it is there, of course, it's very, very cold, and saving every bit of calorie is extremely important. And so conserving the calories by giving as little heat as possible is absolutely critical, crucial. So what is the purpose of this particular paragraph? The purpose of this particular paragraph is that it tries to tries to make a point that tries to make a point in support, that it's supporting, or it's trying to validate that the heat which is gained by the virtue of the plumage of the plumage of the penguin, that temperature, its temperature being lower than the temperature of the air around it, in that way, it is in that way it is very, very helpful for them to survive. So that way it is correct. A table can be helpful, maybe can be helpful, and yeah. So yeah, this is very important that we analyze. You can all ask me questions. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So tables can be helpful and maybe helpful in giving ideas. So yeah, so we will solve some questions and we'll see if we are making some errors there, or we find some potential errors there. Then probably we will be able to solve. We will be able to help you understand where you're going wrong. Yeah. Which of the following best explains the word paradoxically as used by the author? So paradoxically as a word was used here. Says the scientists also used computer simulation to determine how much heat was lost or gained from each part of the body, and discovered that by keeping their outer surface below the air temperature, the birds might paradoxically be able to draw very slight amount of heat from the air around them. So by keeping the temperature of the body, of some parts of the body, that is the outer plumage, the outer feather, the coat, they are able to gain some of the heat. Okay? That is a paradox here. Let's look at the answer question options here. Keeping their body colder helps penguin keep their plumage warmer. No, that they have said that the temperature of the body is higher than the temperature of the air, and the temperature of the plumage is lower than the temperature of the air. So the body is hotter and the plumage is colder than the temperature of the air. So this option is incorrect option. Losing heat through radiation happens despite the heat gain. So radiation say heat loss happens, and through convection heat gains happens. True, but that was not the context here. The context was that by keeping their body temperature lower, they gain heat. That was the context. That was it was referring to. So yeah, keeping a body keeping a part of the body colder helps penguins keep their bodies warmer. That is the right answer. Heat gain through radiation happens despite the heat loss through convection. They're saying that heat gain through radiation happens despite the heat gain through the heat gain through radiation. No, but heat gain happens through convection, and heat loss happens through radiation. So this is again wrong. But then that was not the point here. The point was that what was the paradox about? The paradox was that it is that the birds might paradoxically be able to draw very slight amounts of heat from the air around them, and discover that by keeping their outer surface below the air temperature, birds might paradoxically be able to draw very slight amounts of heat from the air around them. That is the answer. Which of the following can be responsible for emperor penguins losing body heat? Which of the following can be responsible for the emperor penguins losing body heat? See, through convection it is gaining heat. Through plumage it is gaining heat. Through food metabolism, they've also mentioned here, if you go back. To maintain body temperature while losing heat, penguins, like all warm-blooded animals, rely on metabolism of food. So that is how it is. And in the uh, reproduction process, they mention here, and given the emperor's unusually demanding breeding cycle, every bit of warmth counts. Since penguins trek as far as 75 miles to the coast to breed, and male penguins don't eat anything during the incubation period of 64 days. Of 64 days, conserving calories by giving up as little heat as possible is absolutely critical, is absolutely crucial. This is also important. So through reproduction process, they lose heat. Next comes here that in the last paragraph of paragraph 3, slightly warmer air and at a slightly colder temperature referred to and what? Last sentence of the third paragraph, slightly warmer air and a slightly colder temperature referred to. Let's go to the third paragraph. It says that as this part of the as the cold Antarctic air cycles around the body, slightly warmer air comes into contact with the plumage. What is this slightly warmer air? Slightly warmer air is of the air in the atmosphere, the air which is the Antarctic air itself, that is slightly warmer, comes into contact with the plumage and donates minute amounts of heat back to the penguins and cycles away at a slightly colder temperature. So when it gives heat, it becomes even colder. The cold Antarctic air which becomes warmer because of the heat radiated out from the penguin's body. No. Incorrect. Okay. Cold Antarctic air whose temperature is higher than that of the plumage and fall in the temperature of Antarctic air after it has transmitted some heat to the plumage. That is the right answer. That when the cold and Antarctic air, although it's cold, but since the plumage is even colder, it gives some, so that the air gives some heat to the plumage. And the fall in the temperature of the Antarctic air after it has transmitted some heat to the, so once the air has given some heat to the plumage, obviously it becomes further cold, more colder than it was before coming in contact with the plumage of penguin. The air trapped in the plumage, which is warmer than air trapped in the plumage it was nowhere mentioned. This is also wrong. It's incorrect. The air inside penguin's body kept warm because of the metabolism. No, we were not talking about food metabolism. We were talking about the cycle of the heat transfer from the body of the penguin because of the process of convection, and not because of the food, the heat calories gained due to metabolism. Yeah. Next says it that all of the following, if true, would negate the findings of the study reported in the passage itself. So all of the following, if true, would negate the findings of the study reported in the passage. Okay, what was the finding? The finding was that the temperature of the plumage is lower than the temperature of the surrounding Antarctic air, and because of that it gains some heat from the air, and this is helpful in these few calories which it gains. It is helpful. So if we get to know that the temperature of the body of the temperature of the plumage is higher than the temperature of the colder air, or if we get to know that the temperature of the body of the penguin is lower than the temperature of the air, and it's even lower than the temperature of the plumage, then the matrix will change. So if something of this sort will come up, okay, or we get to know that that it is that there is this all is not working, just the food is working, because the penguin eats food. Because of that, the heat, whatever is heat is generated, that is behind all this. They saying that penguins plumage were made of a material that did not allow any heat transfer through convection or radiation. So this will negate it, that if we do not, that if the plumage was made of a material where convection will also not happen and radiation will also not happen, then these findings are not happening, because the heat has to, even if the heat is going away from the body, it has to pass through the plumage only, right? So in that way, it's not possible. So this is correct, and hence this is not the right answer. This will negate the findings, because if you find something which will not undermine, which will not make the findings of this research weaker. Okay, the temperature of the plumage on the penguin heads and chest and backs were found to be 184, 174, and 976 degrees Fahrenheit respectively. So in this way, the temperature is higher than the temperature of the air, Temperature of the air was how much? 0.32, less than 0.5. So in that way, the temperature was higher, and in that way, if the temperature of the plumage is high, how will it transfer the heat to the air? It's a it'll or sorry how can it gain heat from the outside temperature? It'll probably be giving heat. The average temperature of the feet of the penguin in the month of June 2018 were found to be 2.6 degree Fahrenheit. So yeah, this is not relevant. See, feet का मतलब था ही नहीं, right? Feet is going to be colder. Feet is going to be warmer, because penguin is a warm-blooded animal. So if the average that during the month of June 2008, the average air temperature was 0.32 degree Fahrenheit, then naturally then naturally anything more than then this is most natural. That is not undermining the information given, it is actually supporting the information given, because information said that other parts of the body, including the feet, also they mentioned that feet was an average of 1.76 degree Fahrenheit. The warmest part was feet. Sorry. This doesn't undermine the information given by the author. This is the right answer. So once you have found the right answer, please sort of don't read any further. The average air temperature recorded during the month of June 2008 in the area of study. The average air temperature recorded during the month of June 2008 in the area of study were -10 degree Fahrenheit. They seem that if the average air temperature recorded during the month of June in the area were -10 degrees. So it doesn't undermine it, because oh yeah, so this undermines, yeah, this undermines, and when we were looking for something which does not undermine, so we found, so this undermines. Why? Because this will undermine how, because -10, right? And here the temperature of the plumage was -184, -7.4, and -9.76. So all this is warmer than the all these temperatures are higher than the temperature mentioned here. So this undermines the findings given by the author here. So hence this is the right. This is one of the points which undermines it, and hence it is not the answer. He doesn't undermines it, and hence that is answer. So yes, please subscribe to Unacademy. Also, there is an Telegram channel. Please join the Telegram channel and stay in touch. Ask questions there, and also I'll be sending some doubts to you. Please attend live classes on the. Please subscribe Unacademy for live classes. Interact with the educator. Live polls, leaderboard, test series, and analysis, and live doubt clearing sessions as well. This is how much you will get. So interaction, it happens all the time, and with the educator in the live class. You can talk a lot, you can ask questions, and test series also happens, and live doubt clearing sessions also. So test series are very important. They're the backbone of your preparation, and also there are live doubt clearing sessions as well. Yeah, please utilize them. And the pricing, which you already know, is the most amazing. It's the most pricing is 18,000 something for 12 months. It was for 12 months it is 17,500. Please use a code Saxena Live and to get 10% discount.